you very much to Judge Boshier and Professor Smith for sticking to time. We now have 5 minutes for questions, and I think there are microphones that will be going around. If you could please state your name and your organisation and be as concise as possible with your question, that would be great.
Hi, this question is for Judge Boshier. Oh, hello. My name's Jen and I'm from the Green Party. In your speech you talked a lot about reporting and interventions, and I think somewhere in there you mentioned rehabilitation, but I didn't once hear you talk about prevention or drivers. Do you see that as part of your responsibility?
I think in probability it's out of my area of expertise, that is to say prevention. Probably there are many in the room, including Professor Smith, who are better to talk about that than I am. Just so that you know, I deliberately decided to concentrate on the area where I'm involved in, and that is that judges, once they get cases, need to be able to do them to their best possible ability. So it's true to say I have focused more on those that come the way of the family court and how we can do that work better.
I'm Bronwyn Hayward from Christchurch. Could I ask Professor Smith, we're very troubled by the charter schools provisions for Christchurch, and I wondered if you could elaborate a little bit about your argument about universalisation, particularly the comment you made that the middle class have captured schools. Our problem, of course, is that the charter model looks to be a model of inequality to deal with inequality, which doesn't seem to work, but could you comment?
I'm not any particular expert in this area, but I have my views, and like you, I'm really worried about what the charter schools will do. I mean, one of the issues again is quality, and if those charter schools are not going to have to meet the same standards of quality as other schools in New Zealand, for example, have registered teachers, then we've got enough problems with even when they are registered. And I also think it's been proven to be a failure in many other countries, and I just can't understand why we're going down that route. And other people who have more knowledge of this issue might like to comment. Yeah, privatisation by stealth is what Jenny's saying.
It's time for one more question.
Just one, can I make a quick comment in relation to the question about prevention? In my talk I focused on early childhood education, but I'm equally as passionate about parental leave. And the guy, Esping Anderson, that I mentioned, also argues very strongly in favour of parental leave because it both gives parents the chance to get to know their children and all that stuff, but it also helps parents keep attached to the workforce. And that is the big factor in poverty. So it was a point that I didn't mention, but in terms of prevention, I think that we seem to be stalled on making any progress in that area.
I think we've come to the end of our time for this session. There are copies of Judge Boshier's paper at the front here. And I'd just like to formally thank our 2 keynote speakers. From my perspective, I thought they offered very impassioned but still evidence-based presentations. And they explained really clearly proposed changes towards targeting of services and changes to the family court, while reminding us of important principles that we shouldn't lose sight of, and principles like the dignity of children and the need to acknowledge the vulnerability of all children. And even more than that, I think they challenged us to be better as a country. Judge Boshier offered some very practical steps to improve interagency cooperation, and Professor Smith talked about how we need to go beyond just thinking about access and participation and thinking about early childhood education quality. And they wanted us to be aspirational and ambitious for New Zealand as a community and as a country, and I don't think they could do any more than that. So I'd like us all to thank both speakers.